Hey everyone, I'm Tim Townley. Today we're going to be taking a look at a cheap way to turn your normal lens into a macro lens and some of the good things and maybe not so good things about it. Let's take a look. This is where I share my opinion on products that I use in my production workflow in both photo and video. I'm hoping that these reviews help you in your future purchases. If you like the reviews and they help you, please hit that like button and consider subscribing if you haven't subscribed already. And why not hit that notification button too so you can see when the next videos are coming up. First of all, what is a macro lens? Well, a macro lens allows you to get close into your subject and get more detail, almost like you're zooming in to get that detail. But you can't always zoom in with a normal lens to get that kind of detail because there are certain distances you have to be to get a good focus. So that's why they provide the macro lenses. Now, there are two ways that you can do this. One is getting a purpose-built macro lens, which costs a lot of money generally. Depending on what brand you're going with, if you can get used or new, these kind of factors come into play. But if you want an alternative, cheaper method to get those creative kind of, if you're just being artistic and you're just trying to get out there and get some really cool macro shots, then what you can do is buy something like this. This is the MEIKE, I hope I'm saying that right, the MEIKE lens tube adapters, the extension tubes. Now what this does is extends your lens just a little bit further, giving you that ability to get closer to your subject and get a nice sharp focus. So that's something that you can do as an alternative to buying those expensive macro lenses. Now the kit that I bought here and the one that we're going to be talking about is the 10mm and 16mm kind of kit. So they come together. You can use them separately as the 10mm and the 16mm, or you can use them as a combo, which is really cool, gets you really close to your subject. And I'm going to show you in this short little clip here of some photo samples of a lavender flower and a ring and show you what the difference is from a 70mm and then using the 10mm with that and the 16mm and then using the combo. Now the distances of course are going to be different as well. As you add these extension tubes, you're going to get even closer. So ranging from 8.5 inches all the way to 2.5 inches, super close. So you have to be aware of that as well if you're taking photos of a subject that moves, like a bumblebee, for example, a ladybug, or even a dragonfly. There are so many different factors that are involved in macro photography, and we're not going to discuss them here, but I can recommend somebody on a YouTube channel called Photography Life, and Spencer Cox, he really talks about this subject in depth and gives a really good explanation as to what settings you can use for your camera. So because these extension tubes, when you get in really close to your subject, you're also narrowing your field of focus. Now that gets really narrow when you get up close and you're using these. So what you can do is you can also do focus stacking. Now focus stacking is when you take focus points along your subject. So say your subject is this lens here, and your focus point is only, or your focus distance is only about that much. So if you take multiple photos of multiple focus points along the way, you can stack those photos using Photoshop or some other software that's out there. One of them that I use that really works well and actually works a little bit better than the Photoshop one is Helix Stacking or Helix Photo. I'll put a link in the description below so you know where you can find that software. And I think they have a free version as well. And when you stack it, you get this nice sharp image, and then you can leave the background blurry the way you intended it to be. This is something that you cannot normally do with a moving subject because of course they're moving and the subject has to be in one place. Your camera has to be on a tripod in order to do that as well. So that's some considerations that you might need to think about depending on what you're photographing. Other things to consider is that once you get in there and you are getting a subject, you need to have a lot of light. If you're outside and you have a lot of light, then you will be able to get away with this. Some things that you can do to adapt to this is use an on-camera flash, or you can use another source of light in order to get that light in there that you need. You can also be on a tripod. As long as your subject's not moving, then you can open up your shutter as well so that it's open a little bit longer and you can allow a little bit more light in. And also depending on the capabilities of your camera and what its dynamic range is, you might be able to get away with a higher ISO. So those kind of things are factors as well. These are really easy to use. All you have to do, you take your lens. So this is the This is the 17 to 28 millimeter Tamron lens, really good lens. If you're interested in this lens, take a look at the link in the description here and you can see a review that I did earlier, and really good lens, well worth it. So anyway, to put this onto your lens, what you're going to do is you're going to take your extension tubes, take off of the caps that are on there. And it also has marks as well so that it's really easy to put on. So we just line that up, just like that, pretty easy, and clip it into place, no problem. And that's what it looks like. Let's see if we can get it focused. There we go. So again, one of the things to consider is if you have a heavy lens and you have something that is like a 200 millimeter or even bigger than that, that you want to have some support for your lens because these do not support very well and you could damage your camera mount. So be careful of that, okay? But really easy to take off. All you do is use the little clip here, pull that up, turn that off. Super easy. It also has connectors which allow you to do autofocusing and aperture and all that kind of stuff. So really cool that it has these connections so you don't lose any of the capabilities of your lens. Really important to know. In a nutshell, is it worth it? Is it worth it to get these extension tubes? I think yes. It's definitely worth it. And the reason being is because of how cheap they are. Are you losing much? You're not losing much. If you're on a budget and you need a way to get some macro shots of products or vegetation or wild, like bugs and stuff like that, insects, then this is a good option for you. It's not the best option, but it's a great option to start with. If you got all the money in the world, I say just buy a macro lens. But not everybody has that, so try one of these cheaper alternatives. I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's really good option, and I told you a few of the things that are downsides to it, but it's worth it for me. There's a link in the description below where you can find that on Amazon. I'm an affiliate, and that helps this channel grow. So please help this channel grow so I can do more reviews for you. If you like what you saw here, leave a thumbs up. If you didn't get anything from this, please leave a comment below and tell me what I can do better to make this channel a good one for you. If you haven't already, please subscribe and hit that notification bell to see when I post my next video. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.